Hi guys, so it's me, Natalie, and Jorge, and this is our first video actually together, and we decided
First video in ever.
ever together ever first YouTube video in general, and we kind of decided to start a YouTube channel. Me personally, for a few reasons. I don't know if you have any particular reasons or you're just going along with what I want.
You wanted it, so.
So he's kind of going along, but he's all the hands in the background and everything. He does all the editing and everything, and he's helped out a lot, so he's definitely a part of it. And that's why he's sitting here. And so kind of just wanted to go over who I am, why I'm doing this, just kind of a first intro video. So I am currently, I guess you'd consider it a teenage expecting mother. So I'm 19 years old and Jorge is 21 years old, and we live together and we are dating and not married yet. And so weirdo. And so kind of my inspiration for starting YouTube was just I went to a lot of other YouTubers who are young teen moms with children, just to kind of get encouragement and things like that, aside from family of course, who's been really supportive and things like that, but just kind of seeing how they do it in their lifestyle and just kind of seeing how maybe my life could change and what it would look like in the future, kind of through other people. The only difference is most of those people have only had single children, and I'm actually pregnant with twins, 2 girls, which Jorge is very excited to have 3 girls in the household. And so, yeah, so I have twins, and so that's kind of something that's a little bit different. And so kind of the purpose of making this YouTube channel was to not only document our own progression and stage through this journey of life, but also if we can be of any like information or support to other expecting younger parents. And so that's kind of the purpose of this YouTube channel we're starting. I don't think there's really anything else, really. I guess it's just another cool way to document kind of the stages and everything. So we're starting now. I'm currently 24 weeks.
I think 30.
What? No.
Yeah.
30?
30-week appointment is Wednesday.
Oh. Whoops. I can't count. I'm 6 months. I know by months, so that's what, 30? Is that 30 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. I told the girl the other day at work that I was like 24 weeks. Well, so I guess I'm like 30 weeks. So I do go to my regular OBGYN, and then I do have a specialist for twins that we go to for the ultrasounds and everything like that. And this Wednesday we're actually doing a 3D ultrasound thing, which I don't really know what that is, but his family was all excited about it, and so we're gonna go do that, and maybe we'll record that. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, so just future videos. Alright guys, so I just went over my intro and kind of introducing who I am and who Jorge is. And so I just kind of wanted to go into the story of how I ended up moving in with my boyfriend, kind of the whole finding out I was pregnant experience and my decisions and things like that. So Jorge and I had been dating for over a year? Yeah, over a year by the time I found out that I was pregnant, and we found out, or I found out in, I think it was September, like late September. And how it kind of started was we were just in Target, and I was like, hey, I want to get a pregnancy test. Like, I hadn't shown any signs, like no typical signs of pregnancy, so it was just like this weird like hit that I just had inside of me. And Jorge was all like confused, like, why? There's no need for that. And I was like, I don't know, I want to get a pregnancy test. Just something was like uneasy inside of me. So he was like, okay, whatever. Like, he was chill with it. And so, we went and got one, and then I went back to my house because at that time we weren't living together. I was living with my family, and he lived with his family, and still does. And so we went back to my house, and I went to the bathroom, and I just did like, just the regular standard pee test, and so it came out positive. But this was before I had like technically missed a period, so it could have been a false positive, so we decided not to like overreact or anything like that. And I obviously told Jorge right away, and we kind of decided not to like tell anybody until like the missed period stage, and then we would take another test. If it was still positive, then we could freak out then. So we kept it pretty quiet for like a week or two, and of course it was kind of in our heads like what if. And so after I had technically missed my period, like the month had ended, went into the next month, I was like, okay, I definitely missed my period. This is like the first sign that I could be pregnant. And I still wasn't like showing any other signs really. And so then I got another test, and I took that test, and it was still positive. So then by then we were like, okay, I guess this is real. I guess I'm pregnant. And we didn't really know what to do because for a while we didn't know if like we were going to continue with the pregnancy or kind of what was going to happen. It was just kind of a lot to take in, and we were just kind of talking about all of our options and things like that. And so in the beginning, I was leaning towards not keeping the baby, and just because I think there's a lot of fear going on, and I was just freaking out, and my parents were very against it. And there'd already been like a lot of tension between like my family and the relationship with them and Jorge and things like that, and just like I was so afraid that like bringing a baby into it would just like really mess things up. And I was in school, Jorge was in school, we had a lot going on. We were both in youth group, really active in it. I was active in church, I was doing piano, I was doing just a whole bunch of stuff, and I knew that like bringing a child in would completely stop it and obviously change a lot. And so I sat with it, and I talked to some people like my counselor and things like that, and I just kind of sat with it. And that's actually when I went to YouTube and just kind of watched a lot of teen moms and things like that, just kind of seeing how their life was and how they dealt with it and things like that. And of course everybody has their own situation, deals with it differently, and different things like that. But it kind of started giving me like more faith and the realization that I could do it, that I wasn't the only one out there. And I started talking to my friends and kind of telling some really close people what had been going on, and they were like, oh yeah, like my cousin was a teen mom, and or somebody would say like, oh yeah, no, I knew somebody and they completed schooling and all this and that. And I was like, okay, like if these people are actually doing it, like, maybe I can do this. And what I kind of figured out was people who were looking for help and asking for help, they were the ones that were succeeding. They were the ones still accomplishing their goals and things like that. But the people who just like thought they could do it all on their own, those were the ones that had a much harder time, were struggling. And so I was like, no, I'm willing to ask for help and things like that. And so I had told my mom by then that I was pregnant, but she thought that we weren't going to keep the children, which she was in favor of. And so when I decided that I had changed my mind, we were going to keep the child, then she was just kind of like in shock. And there had already been a lot of tension between my mom and I previously, just regular, growing up girl stuff, I guess. Kind of separating and getting my first boyfriend, which Jorge's my first boyfriend and everything, and then being pregnant and everything like that. There's just a lot going on and a lot of other things involved. And so there's just a lot of tension, and it got really confusing. And so I'm not going to get really into it because that kind of goes into like, it looks like I could be pointing a finger at my mom, and I don't really want to go into all that and things like that. And so, but in the end, I ended up moving out pretty quickly, and I decided to move in with my boyfriend, and his family accepted me into their home. And so I ended up packing like 2 weeks later, and my boyfriend came and picked up everything, and we got everything together, and I pretty much just moved out like 2 weeks later after this all happened. So it was a really, really fast move. It was like, yeah, it was really fast. And my mom was having a really, really hard time coping with it and things like that. And it was just very, very emotional because a lot of people, for me and my family, were like against my decision, especially against moving out and moving with my boyfriend and everything like that. But I also did have a lot of people who were supporting me, but it was just really, really conflicting when they both had very strong opinions and they were just really all trying to voice their opinions at the exact same time. So I had tons of people tell me like, oh, you're just completely like, ruining your life, and you're not going to be able to give this child opportunities and all this and that, and you're just going to kind of, ruin your own opportunities and things like that, and you don't know, and you're still so young, and you shouldn't be doing this and things like that. But then I had people also saying like, no, like, you can do this, I have faith in you. And it was just so much to take in. It was really, really an emotional and difficult time for me. And so I ended up moving out, and so we still currently live together at my boyfriend's mom's place and with his family. And so that was kind of the whole beginning of finding out I was pregnant and everything. And when I initially told my mom I was pregnant, her reaction was really, really calm. She was just like, oh, I'm not surprised, which was kind of like, ouch. But she didn't like freak out in the beginning. It was once I told her that we had changed our mind and we were going to keep the baby when things started just getting really intense. Now it's been obviously like 6 months, and things have really calmed down, and people have accepted things, and my relationship has been healing and growing stronger with my mom and those other people and things like that. And other relationships, yeah, they have grown apart, but there's been other people who have stepped up and really, really extended a hand to me and things like that. So there's definitely like pros and cons. You lose some people, but you also gain some people, and you lose some things and you gain some things. And so I think the hardest part was it was just so fast and so intense, and because I know there were a lot of people that cared about me, and they all wanted to voice their opinions, and they wanted me to choose what they thought was right and things like that. And I had to really focus on really trying to figure out what was right for me and what would be the best decision for my future, me, and things like that. So that's kind of the whole beginning process. 6 months fast forwarding to now, things haven't really changed. Jorge and I are kind of looking now at like maybe a place to, once the children come. I found out I was having twins at my first OBGYN appointment, and like I slapped Jorge because I don't know why, but that's a great story. But it was just, there's a lot going on, and so now knowing we're having twins, we had already like ordered not the car seat, but the stroller and everything like that for a single child. And because it was all during Black Friday and there were great sales going on, so we were like, oh, might as well, like, we know we're having a child. And then we found out we were having twins. I was like, well, return all of that stuff, and now we have to get double of everything. Great. So yeah, now we've just been preparing, we've just been slowly stocking up on diapers and wipes and everything like that, and just trying to keep ourselves ahead of the game and as informed as possible, and watching YouTube videos and learning more and listening to people and getting information from out there, and definitely using the resources out there have been really, really helpful. So for young moms, definitely reach out and use all the sources you can get. If there's programs and things like that, sign up for all of them, because they can really, really help you, and learn from other people, definitely. That's kind of my advice, because that's definitely helped me out a lot. And but also family helps out a ton, and Jorge's family has helped out a lot with information as well, so that's definitely a great bonus. So that's kind of my story, our story. Maybe Jorge will do a separate video on his point of view on the whole pregnancy. We'll see. He's behind the camera and he's shaking his head. We'll see though. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. So see you guys later.